Chosen one, something within you stirs tonight, a whisper from the unseen, a subtle pulse that moves through your mind and spirit. I am she, e.g., and you are standing on the edge of a revelation few will ever recognize. The seventh seal is opening, and it is calling not to the world outside, but to the world within you. This is not about grand events or dramatic change. It is about the quiet awakening of your inner power, your clarity, and your ability to master what has always been waiting in silence. In this moment, you are invited to witness truths hidden in plain sight. You will learn how the seventh seal symbolizes the completion of a journey that begins with stillness and discipline, how ancient Shaolin practices teach the art of aligning intention with action, and why mastering fear and attachment is the key to stepping into your highest self. Few realize that the seal has always been personal, a reflection of inner readiness rather than a prophecy dictated by the world. I will guide you through subtle teachings passed down through centuries, lessons overlooked by most, yet essential for those walking the path of self-mastery. By the end of this journey, you will recognize the signs within yourself, sense the quiet shifts in energy, and understand why the seventh seal is awakening in this very moment. You will gain insight into practices that sharpen awareness, strengthen the mind, and align your spirit with a purpose far greater than ordinary life. Welcome to Shaolin Soulfire, where the ancient wisdom of the Shaolin path meets the modern seeker. Subscribe now and step closer to the awakening that has been waiting for you. The seventh seal is not a story told, it is a story lived, and it begins with you. There comes a moment when the world falls away, and only the quiet presence of your own spirit remains. The seventh seal is that moment, a symbol of completion, transformation, and mastery over what often holds us captive, ourselves. In the teachings of Shaolin, each seal is not merely a mark or a sign, it is a threshold, a level of inner refinement. Each step in this ancient path represents a deeper understanding of thought, action, and energy. To reach the seventh seal is to reach the summit of this inner journey, where the mind, body, and spirit move in harmony beyond the noise of ordinary life. Completion does not mean the end, it means wholeness. Transformation is not a sudden eruption, but the slow, deliberate shaping of the self through discipline, reflection, and awareness. Mastery is not domination over others, but over the patterns, fears, and impulses that cloud judgment and weaken resolve. The seventh seal asks for more than skill or knowledge. It asks for clarity of presence, for the courage to face the shadows within and recognize them without judgment. In Shaolin philosophy, the ego is the first obstacle, and fear the second. They bind the spirit, fragment perception, and disguise the path. Unlocking the seventh seal is the act of seeing beyond these barriers, of moving through life with a calm vigilance that is neither rigid nor reactive. It is the quiet triumph of awareness over distraction, of balance over chaos. Those who step into this seal learn to act without attachment, to move through the world with strength tempered by wisdom, and to meet every challenge not with resistance, but with the stillness that precedes action. The seventh seal is not given. It is recognized, claimed, and embodied. There is a space between each breath, a quiet pause where the world seems to hold its rhythm, and yet everything moves in harmony. In Shaolin practice, stillness is not emptiness, it is the gateway. It is in stillness that the mind slows, the body eases, and the layers of distraction begin to fall away. The noise of daily life, the chatter of the ego, the restless pull of desire, all lose their grip when one sits in deliberate quiet. Stillness sharpens perception. In that silent space, subtle truths emerge, truths that cannot be seen through haste or distraction. The sway of energy, the patterns of thought, the hidden currents that guide action all become visible when the mind learns to pause. It is here that the teachings of the ancients take form, whispered not in words, but in the clarity of attention. One begins to notice the rhythm of their own heartbeat, the cadence of thought, and the quiet movements of intention that shape every decision. Mindfulness grows naturally from stillness, Observing thoughts without attachment, without judgment, reveals the illusions that the mind often holds as reality. Emotions rise and fall, impulses appear and vanish, yet the observer remains steady, unshaken. This is inner mastery, not the suppression of feeling but the cultivation of awareness that allows each impulse to be understood before it becomes action. Discipline is not rigid control, but the gentle, persistent return to this quiet center, moment after moment. Ancient Shaolin wisdom teaches that true power is born in stillness. Strength without stillness is scattered. Knowledge without stillness is shallow. The gateway is never locked, but it requires patience, humility, and the courage to meet the silence within. In this space, the mind becomes a mirror, the heart a compass, and the spirit a steady flame capable of guiding even the most turbulent journey. Discipline is often misunderstood as restriction, yet in the teachings of Shaolin, it is the foundation of true freedom. Each day, the monks rise before dawn, follow precise routines, and move through practices that may seem repetitive or exacting to the untrained eye. Yet in this repetition lies a hidden power, the cultivation of self-mastery and the quiet shaping of character. Ritual is not about rigid conformity. It is a training ground for the mind and spirit, a way to harmonize intention with action. Through disciplined action, the chaos within begins to settle. The restless mind, prone to distraction and reaction, learns the rhythm of purpose. Patterns of impulse, anger, fear, indecision are no longer tyrants, for consistent practice creates a space in which choices are deliberate rather than reflexive. Each step, each motion, each mindful breath teaches the practitioner that freedom is not the absence of structure, but the mastery of self within it. Personal mastery is forged through this steady commitment. The smallest daily actions accumulate, like drops forming a river, gradually carving strength, clarity, and resilience into the spirit. The mind, once scattered, learns to focus. The heart, once reactive, learns to wait. The body, once unruly, learns to obey. Over time, discipline transforms from an external expectation into an inner companion, guiding each thought, word, and gesture with quiet authority. Ancient Shaolin wisdom recognizes that without discipline, energy dissipates and intentions fade. With it, every action becomes a reflection of conscious choice, every day an opportunity to refine the self. In this way, discipline is not a burden but a liberation, a steady hand that guides one through the turbulence of life, shaping a spirit capable of responding with balance, strength, and grace. The path may be demanding, yet through it, the freedom of mastery unfolds naturally, like a lotus rising from still waters. There is a warrior that lives not in the body but in the mind and spirit, a presence that watches, adapts, and responds with clarity. In Shaolin philosophy, the inner warrior is cultivated long before any skill is tested in the physical world. It is born from quiet observation, from the disciplined alignment of thought, breath, and intention. True strength is measured not by force but by the steadiness of the mind and the resilience of the spirit. Strength of this kind begins with awareness. The inner warrior notices the subtle movements of energy within, the tension in muscles, the flicker of emotion, the whisper of intuition. It also perceives the currents outside, the rhythms of people, places, and situations that most pass by unheeded. Mindfulness acts as the sharpening edge of this awareness. By observing without judgment, the warrior learns to respond rather than react, to meet challenge with calm precision rather than chaos. Every distraction, every fear, every moment of doubt becomes a teacher, a guide to deeper understanding. Resilience grows when awareness meets discipline. The inner warrior practices patience, returning again and again to clarity even as life tests endurance. Mental patterns that once ruled behavior are softened, replaced by conscious choice. Spiritual energy, once scattered, is focused like a flame in the chest, steady and illuminating. The warrior learns that battles are often silent, fought not with fists, but with presence, self-command, and unwavering attention to the present moment. Ancient Shaolin masters understood that the outer form is temporary, but the inner warrior lasts a lifetime. It does not boast or dominate, it observes, adjusts, and acts with quiet authority. By cultivating mindfulness and awareness, the practitioner discovers a strength that transcends circumstance, a courage born not of impulse, but of wisdom. In this space, every breath, every heartbeat, and every thought becomes a training ground, a forge for resilience, clarity, and the unshakable spirit of the true warrior. There are moments when the world's noise grows too loud, when thoughts tumble endlessly and the heart feels scattered. It is in these moments that silence becomes a teacher. In Shaolin practice, silence is not emptiness, but a mirror. It reveals the movements of the mind, the patterns of desire, and the truths often hidden beneath distraction. Reflection in this quiet space transforms the ordinary into insight and the fleeting into understanding. Through deliberate contemplation, clarity arises. The mind, once clouded by judgment and reaction, begins to see itself. Emotions and impulses, once overwhelming, are observed with gentle awareness, allowing their meaning and origin to surface. The body too speaks in silence. The tension in shoulders, the rhythm of breath, the subtle energy that flows unseen. Each moment of reflection strengthens the connection between awareness and action, teaching that mastery begins not with doing, but with understanding. The seventh seal calls for such moments of intentional solitude. It is not a withdrawal from life, but a deep engagement with one's inner landscape. In these pauses, the inner self is recognized, and the layers that obscure potential are gently lifted. Wisdom is not delivered in noise or haste. It arrives quietly in the spaces where thought and perception meet stillness. The practice of retreating into silence, even briefly each day, trains the spirit to move with balance and precision, cultivating the patience and insight necessary to navigate challenges with composure. Ancient Shaolin masters knew that strength alone is insufficient without reflection. The body may be disciplined, the mind alert, but without silence, insight remains shallow. Embracing quiet moments allows the practitioner to perceive patterns, confront hidden fears, and align with the deeper currents of life. In solitude, the seventh seal opens, not as a distant promise, but as an awakening already present, waiting only for attention and reverence. There is a subtle tension that exists in many lives, a gap between what is taught, what is intended, and what is done. In Shaolin philosophy, this gap is recognized as the source of wasted energy, inner conflict, and unseen obstacles. True mastery arises when thought, intention, and action move as one, flowing seamlessly like a river guided by its own depth and direction. When intention is misaligned with action, confusion takes root. Energy scatters, decisions feel heavy, and even the simplest tasks can drain the spirit. The body may move, but the mind resists. The heart may desire, but the will falters. Such discord creates tension within, clouding judgment and weakening resolve. Ancient Shaolin masters observed that harmony between inner and outer movement is not accidental. It is cultivated through awareness, discipline, and careful practice. Alignment begins with clarity of thought. Mindfulness allows the practitioner to witness intentions as they arise, without judgment or distortion. Each action is considered, each choice deliberate. Awareness of breath, posture, and focus becomes a guide, showing where attention is fragmented and where energy is stuck. Over time, these small moments of conscious observation strengthen the connection between mind and body, intention and behavior. Practical strategies include pausing before action to sense alignment, observing impulses without immediately following them, and reflecting on whether each act reflects true purpose. Even a few minutes of daily meditation, mindful walking, or focused breath can recalibrate the mind, ensuring that energy flows without obstruction. The alignment of thought, intention, and action is a quiet art, often invisible but always felt. It is the difference between drifting through life and moving with precision, power, and grace. In this harmony, energy is freed, clarity is sharpened, and the path of mastery opens. The practice is simple, yet it demands patience, vigilance, and the courage to act only when mind, heart, and spirit are united. Fear often whispers in the quietest moments, a shadow that distorts perception and binds the spirit. The seventh seal calls for facing these shadows not with resistance but with calm observation. In Shaolin philosophy, fear is recognized as a signal, a teacher pointing to where attachment has taken root. To awaken fully, one must step toward the discomfort, tracing its origin and understanding its presence without becoming captive to it. Attachment is intertwined with fear. Desire for permanence, clinging to outcomes, and identification with fleeting states of being create tension that disturbs the mind and clouds judgment. Shaolin teachings remind that all things are impermanent, the body changes, circumstances shift, and even thoughts fade. By observing the transient nature of life, the practitioner learns to release the hold of attachment, allowing the heart to remain steady even as the world moves unpredictably. Transcending fear does not mean its absence. It means transforming it into a form of energy that sharpens awareness rather than hinders it. Fear becomes focus, hesitation becomes discernment, and the energy once scattered in avoidance channels into clarity and decisive action. Each confrontation with inner fear strengthens resilience, teaching the mind to move with composure rather than recoil. The practice begins with gentle acknowledgement, sensing the fear, naming it, and allowing it to exist without judgment. Through meditation, breathwork, and mindful reflection, the tension loosens, revealing the power beneath. Attachment fades as the mind cultivates trust in impermanence and confidence in the self. In this way, the seventh seal is not a distant promise, but a present path, a journey that transforms fear into mastery, attachment into freedom, and the restless energy of the mind into the focused force of a disciplined, awakened spirit. The world speaks constantly through the senses: sight, sound, touch, taste, and smell. But the untrained mind often confuses noise with truth. Shaolin teachings guide the practitioner to move beyond mere reaction to sensation, to develop awareness and control over perception. Mastery of the senses is the first step toward mastery of energy, the subtle force known as qi, which flows through every thought, movement, and breath. Qi is not visible, yet its presence shapes the body, the mind, and the spirit. When senses are uncontrolled, energy becomes scattered, restless, and weak. When senses are refined, perception sharpens, and qi flows with clarity and purpose. Mindfulness exercises cultivate this refinement, observing breath, sensing movement, and tracing the flow of attention from moment to moment. Even simple practices, repeated with focus, awaken sensitivity to subtle currents, revealing patterns of energy that guide decision, action, and understanding. The mastery of subtle energy is inseparable from mastery of self. Each thought left unchecked, each impulse followed blindly, weakens the current. Each moment of deliberate awareness strengthens it. The practitioner learns to direct qi intentionally, to gather strength, calm emotion, and focus attention where it is most needed. In this way, the body becomes a vessel for clarity, the mind a channel for insight, and the spirit a steady flame that illuminates even the hidden corners of experience. Ancient Shaolin wisdom teaches that those who cannot master themselves will be mastered by circumstance. By cultivating the senses, refining awareness, and guiding qi with patience and discipline, the practitioner steps into a deeper sovereignty, one that is quiet, unshakable, and profoundly alive. Mastery of subtle energy is not an abstract goal. It is the living proof of inner harmony, the reflection of a spirit aligned, disciplined, and awake. The messages of ancient prophecy often appear grand and distant, yet the truth of the seventh seal is quietly intimate. It does not predict events in the outer world, nor does it favor kingdoms or armies. Its call is directed inward, toward the unfolding of your own spirit. Each symbol, each whisper of the seal, points to a single truth. Awakening begins within, and mastery is born through self-recognition. The seventh seal is a mirror, reflecting the potential that has always existed, waiting for awareness to catch its light. It is not earned by chance or circumstance, but by discipline, presence, and deliberate action. Those who listen closely learn to discern the subtle stirrings of purpose and alignment in their own lives. It asks for courage, not the loud heroism of legend, but the quiet bravery of observing one's fears, transforming distractions into focus, and choosing the path of conscious attention over reactive habit. This prophecy is an invitation to step into sovereignty over the self. To honor it is to understand that true power lies in alignment, the alignment of mind, heart, and spirit. It asks for careful cultivation of awareness, patience with one's own growth, and trust in the rhythms of life. Each action becomes a reflection of intention, each moment of stillness a doorway to insight, each challenge an opportunity to exercise clarity and resilience. Ancient Shaolin masters understood that prophecy is never about fate, it is about readiness. The seventh seal awakens when the student is prepared, when the inner landscape has been cultivated through reflection, discipline, and mindful practice. This awakening is deeply personal, uniquely tailored to the journey of each individual. To answer its call is to embrace a life of conscious mastery, to move with purpose through every thought, breath, and choice, and to step fully into the power and clarity that has always been yours to claim. True mastery is not born in a single moment of insight. It is woven through countless small actions, repeated with intention and care. The teachings of the seventh seal are not meant for theory alone. They are alive in the rhythm of daily life, in the choices that shape each day. Reflection, mindfulness, and disciplined practice are the tools that transform understanding into living wisdom. Begin with small, deliberate steps, a few minutes of mindful breathing, a pause to observe thoughts without judgment, or a quiet moment of stillness before action can shift the current of the mind. These are not trivial acts. They are the foundation upon which awareness grows. Daily rituals, approached with patience, accumulate like drops forming a river, gradually shaping clarity, focus, and resilience. Discipline is the bridge between insight and action, returning again and again to practice, even when the mind wanders or the body resists, builds strength that is invisible but unmistakable in its effect. Through consistent effort, reactive patterns soften and choices begin to reflect conscious intention rather than habit or impulse. This alignment of thought, energy, and action is the very essence of personal mastery. Reflection guides the journey. At the end of each day, observe where attention was scattered, where fear or attachment influenced action, and where alignment was achieved. In doing so, the practitioner learns to recognize subtle shifts in energy, patterns in thought, and openings for growth. Mindfulness, when sustained, becomes a lens through which the ordinary transforms into the extraordinary, revealing the profound impact of conscious living. Ancient Shaolin wisdom teaches that the path is not a destination but a continuous unfolding. By integrating the principles of stillness, discipline, awareness, and alignment into daily life, the seeker turns ordinary moments into a practice of awakening. Each action, no matter how small, carries the power to shape character, refine perception, and cultivate the enduring strength of a mastered spirit. The essence of the seventh seal lies in the quiet mastery of self. Stillness teaches clarity, discipline shapes freedom, awareness strengthens the inner warrior, and alignment turns intention into action. Fearlessness transforms challenges into focus, mastery of energy guides every thought and movement, and personal awakening reveals the potential that has always existed within. These principles are not distant ideals. They are practices to carry into each day, subtle yet powerful, shaping every choice, breath, and moment. Unlocking the seventh seal is not about waiting for signs outside. It is about stepping fully into your true self, meeting your inner strength and wisdom with presence and courage. The prophecy is not ahead of you, it is already within, quietly waiting for your recognition, your commitment, and your action. Embrace these teachings gently yet consistently. Let stillness, mindfulness, and reflection guide your steps. Allow discipline, alignment, and awareness to shape your path. Face fear and attachment with calm courage, and nurture the energy that flows through every thought and movement. In doing so, the seventh seal unfolds naturally, revealing the depth, clarity, and power of your awakened spirit. Carry this wisdom into your daily life, knowing that every small conscious action contributes to your growth and mastery. Step into your sovereignty with patience, presence, and respect for your inner journey. If this message resonates with you, like and subscribe to Shaolin Soulfire and continue walking the path of conscious mastery. Here, ancient wisdom meets the seeker, and each day becomes an opportunity to awaken, refine, and embody the truth of who you are.